Yeah, good morning all. Today I'm going to revise what are the topics up to we covered. And then tomorrow is the Bakrid. We are getting holiday. After that we will start our sessions continuously. Why today I am repeating means so few of them are joined newly. So if I directly start that new topics means they cannot understand. So whoever already aware on this topic, you can revise one time. And who is newly joined, you can listen very carefully because in future I'm not going to repeat again. Clear, right?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, this is our company Global Neogen. Through this platform we are providing Java training. First, what is Java? Java is a high level platform independent programming language. And also we mentioned here object oriented programming language. This is we discussed in oops concepts. So finally in interview or anywhere, if anybody asking any question means you can explain what is Java means. Java is a high level platform independent and programming object oriented programming language. So here I mentioned the second point, it follows the philosophy write once, run anywhere. What is the meaning of this philosophy means it will support any operating system, will support any operating system. And then 1 minute. Sorry for the disturbance. So Java is a high level platform independent and object oriented programming language. It follows the philosophy write once, run anywhere. Write once, run anywhere means we can write our source code in any operating system. For example, my system is the Windows. Then someone using Mac, someone using Linux operating systems. So it will execute in any operating system. It is a platform independent. That is the meaning of this write once, run anywhere. And next, so Java initially developed by James Gosling and his team members under the Sun Microsystem. Sun Microsystem is the one of the company. So they started this Java development in the year 1991 and they released this Java first version that they named it as a Java Alpha Beta version. Initially, while developing, they named not the Java, it's the name was Oak. Later, they changed to Java. So the first version was released in 1995. From 1996 onwards, they are releasing every year like one version. So JDK1, JDK2, JDK3, like that. Now up to latest version is JDK 26 or something. We saw while installing that what is the latest version like that. And later what happened in 2010 is Oracle Corporation. This is also one of the big multinational company. They acquired this Java from Sun Micro System. So this is the small introduction about the Java. Next we discussed features. So features of the Java. So here simple first feature we mentioned as a simple. So those already know. So last I think 2 or 3 weeks we are working, right? It is easy to understand. So it is a when compared to C, C++, those language, it is easy to understand Java language. So it is very simple to write and understand as well. Next, object oriented. So object oriented is a one of a paradigm. So it's a methodology. Currently, we are discussing in OOPS concepts, right? So that is ongoing. So object oriented is a methodology. So here we are processing our data with the help of objects. So real time objects we are processing. So you can admit them. Someone is joining. Anyone can admit. So object oriented. Currently we are discussing that one. No issues. Those who are newly joined also they can able to understand it. Next I will repeat again that one. So simple means easy to analyze and we can write our source code very easily. Object oriented. Then portable. So portable, this platform independence are both are similar. So we can write in any operating system and we can execute in other operating system as well. That is the portability feature. So platform independent also same. So secured, Java will provide some security features as well. So it will support security as well. That is we when discuss in advanced Java, Spring Boot, those things. Then architecture neutral also. This is also similar to this platform independent portable, those things. So interpreted. So interpreted is nothing but so this Java will convert bytecode into source code into bytecode. So bytecode means machine understanding code. So that feature also Java will provide. That is we saw in the JDK, JRE, JVM, right? Interpreted. Then next high performance. So performance wise also it is good. So once you are requesting anything from the UI, it will execute that one and it will provide immediately the response. So high performance. And also it will support multi-threading. So one of the feature multi-threading means we can split our task into smaller parts and then we can execute. Finally, we can get that output. So we can divide our task into smaller tasks. That is the multi-threading. Then distributed. Distributed also similar to this platform independent as well as it will support this API concepts, those things. So over the internet we can work. As of now, we are working mostly offline only. Once we are developing advanced Java while discussing, right, and also Spring Boot applications, then we can know how it will work over the internet, those things. And finally, this dynamic. So dynamic is nothing but we can utilize this in runtime as well. So dynamic means mostly it's a flexible language. We can adopt other functionalities as well. So it will Java can adopt other functionalities, those things. Mostly it will happen in runtime. Dynamic things means. So next Java use cases. So where we are using Java currently in the world, more than 3 billion devices are using Java. More than 3 billion devices. So you can see how much impact is there this Java language. So mostly we are going to develop Java web applications, enterprise applications. So web applications means client and server interactions will be there. For example, you can take a Amazon application. It is the web application. So users are interacting through their UI and requests and response are coming from the backend. That is we don't know. So users don't know how that applications will work. Only the developers will know how that application will work. Then enterprise applications like banking systems, those things will comes under enterprise applications. Then mobile applications, gaming, Android applications, all will comes under this mobile applications, desktop applications. So few of the applications will support only in the desktops. Those applications are the desktop applications. Then Java is using in scientific and research applications as well. Then big data technologies. So big data technologies means so you people know, right? Social media apps, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, those things. Everyone uploading lot of data where it is going to store. Initially, we have this big data technology to store all that uploaded data. Later, we got this cloud computing, those things. So in embedded systems like IoT devices, Internet of Things, you can see in the shopping malls, those things automatically it will calculate the weight and it will generate the bills. Those are the IoT systems. There also we are utilizing this Java language. Then in cloud computing, so mostly cloud computing we are going to use for deploy our applications and storage purpose as well. So here deployment means, for example, if you are developing your application on your own system, that is your local. So from in my system, I am developing any programming code. That one I can check in my system only, right? I cannot show in other system. So if you deploy in the internet means all people can able to access it. So that one now cloud is very famous for deployment and also storage purpose also. So we can store our data in cloud. And the next topic is, so clear, right? Up to this is the Java introduction only. Next we have JDK, JVM and JRE. So JDK, why we are using? Already we installed this one. Those who are newly joined, I will share this PPT in the group. We have the clear steps you can install. And still, if you have doubts how to install, you can connect with your friends. Already they completed this JDK and Eclipse installations. So it is mandatory for this session. So JDK contains Java development tools and JRE. So Java development tools means we have Java compiler and some tools are there. I will show you in the diagram. And next JRE. JRE is the Java runtime environment. It contains JVM plus Java libraries. Whatever the libraries required to execute our program. So this JRE will contains everything. And JVM is the heart of our Java applications. This JVM only will achieve that philosophy. Write once, run anywhere. So this one only will achieve that philosophy. So platform independent one. Why? Because this is only going to convert our source code into bytecode. Bytecode means that machine understandable code. And also JVM have some memory. So wherever we are writing, right, our source code, everything, it will store in memory, right? This JVM only will providing. So memory areas also we have. So 5 types of memory areas we have. Later we can discuss those things. Once finished our Java, then we can discuss. As of now, no need. Just you can aware on what is JDK, JVM, and JRE. So this is the installation guide. You can open this website link. Once you open, so we saw the latest version of Java is 26. So in the future, they are going to release Java 27 also, and some of the stable versions we have Java 8, Java 11. Java 17, Java 21 are the stable versions. So most of the applications as of now, they are developing by using this stable versions. So, and you can check here Linux operating system, Mac operating system. Based on your system, you can install that Java application, this JDK application. Next, this is for the installation guide for Eclipse. This is the website you can open and you can download this one 84 86 by 64 this one, so you can directly get this one, so you can download. Then once download completed, you have to install those things. Here in Eclipse you have to select that default location and also Eclipse ID for enterprise Java and web developers. You have to select this one. And once JDK installed, you have to set that environment variables also. That is, you can check with your friends whoever not installed these two things. It is mandatory for this Java course. And next thing we have how Java works step by step. So this is the flow diagram we have. Once we are writing any Java program, the main method is the entry point. What is main method here? Public static void main. Then parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we are passing parameter string of array. And then in the body, so flower curly braces, right? That is the method body. Inside the method body, we are writing our logic. So this compiler will identify the Java code which is executed from the main method. Otherwise, it won't. Compiler will not identify. So once you are writing the source code in the Java class, then this compiler will compile. If any errors means it will show in the red color, right? Already we saw in Eclipse, it is showing. If you did any mistakes means it will show in the red color. And yellow color means it is the warning. So warnings will execute, but if you have the this error means compiler will throw the this error means then it won't compile. It will not execute your program. Once it is compiled, then it will generates this bytecode. So whatever we are writing, that is the source code. Then this compiler will compile. If no errors, it will generate the bytecode. This bytecode only going to execute by JVM. Then finally, we can see the output. So this is the steps we mentioned here. Write the Java program, then compilation, then converting into bytecode, then JVM will execute. Finally, we will get the output. This is the step-by-step one. Already, I think documents, everything I provided. So Java introduction document, I will share again those things. And up to these things, all are the Java introduction classes only. I think in first day we covered everything, these things. Next, we discussed about variable. So in any programming language, we have to store our data, right? For example, you are joining in any college, your name, your details need to store right in your college. So your name, your mobile number, your address, and your email IDs, those things we have to store this all information. We need these variables. So variables is used to store the data. So simply we can call it as a variable is a container which is used to store the data in the program. So we have different types of variables also. So local variable, instance variable, class level variable. Class level variable, instance variables, both are similar, but small difference is there. We can discuss that one also. So here the syntax for the variable is how we can define the variable, data type, variable name. So this is the variable name, assignment operator. Finally, we are assigning value. And in Java, every statement end with a semicolon. So variable is clear, right? So remember this syntax: data type, variable name, assignment operator, then the value. So types of variables, local variable we are defining inside the method, that is we can call it as a local variable. Class level variable we are defining class level, not in the method level, that is the class variable. Static variable, I need to explain this static keyword, that is after the oops concept, we are going to explain, then you can understand what is static variable. This is also belongs to class level only. The difference is, if you want to access the class level variable, you have to create a object. But for static variable, no need to create a object. Directly we can access. That is the difference between class level variable and a static variable. That we can see in the upcoming sessions. No issues. Already we discussed class level variables. While discussing in OOPS concepts, we discussed what is class level variable, how we can define like that. And also rules for naming convention for variables. Not only for variables, we have how to define for class, how to define for package, how to define for project name. Everything we have certain naming conventions we have to follow. If you follow this naming convention means, then wherever you are joined, then they can understand he is already experienced guy. He know everything how we can define. If you are not following any basics, they can easily understand you are not a experienced guy. You are the fresher. So variable names can contains letters, numbers, underscore, and dollar symbol. Correct, right? Already we saw this one. And variable names should not contains. It should not start with the numbers. It should not contain spaces. And also some predefined Java keywords are there. For example, class, final, static, this, super. Those keywords are there. We should not use these keywords as a variable names. Then next topic is variables, clear, right? New joiners or anyone have doubts in variables? No doubts, right? Variables, clear, right? Why we are using variables? What are the types of variables we have? How we can follow the naming convention? These 3 points you have to remember. So I will show you that how we define those things also. Then new joiners can able to aware on that. So everyone completed, right, your homework, and I provided scenario based questions. This is the first program, hello world program we printed in the starting class, and also in the next class I think I defined here. So this is the method, main method. Inside the main method I am defining, right? This is the local variable. Class level I defined means that is the class variable. If I use static keyword means that is the static variable. Here you can see we have to follow in Java camel case. For example, if single name means first letter start with a small letter. and then next word will start with the camel case. For example, class also same, but for class, first letter will start with the capital letter, next letter also capital letter. This is the camel case. Starting with the next word, starting with the capital letter means this is the camel case. And this is the single line comment. So double slash is the single line comment in Java, and this is the multi-line comment. Slash star star star. So you can write number of lines here. Why we need this comment means, for example, we define right here what is this variable, like local variable. So whoever the already you written some code, you want to explain something about this line, you can use this comment. You can explain what this line is going to do, like that. So next one, data types. What is data types here? Data type is going to use to store the data, but here in variable we discussed, right? Syntax of the variable, data type, variable name, assignment operator, and then value. So we are assigning one value, right, to that particular variable. That is the which type of data. So this is called the data type here. Type of value can be stored by the variable, and also how much memory it is going to occupy. The next point. So data type, if anybody asked what is the definition or what is data type means, data type is nothing but the type of value can be stored by the variable and how much of memory going to allocate. You can explain these 2 points. So we have different types of data types here. The first category is a primitive type, and the second category is a non-primitive type. So primitive data types are, these are the built-in data types. So Java is providing all these things. We don't have any new data types. Whatever the available data types, we are going to utilize them. But non-primitive means we can define our own, or some also Java is providing some data types. So non-primitive contains both Java also providing, and we can define our own things as well. Next we will see what are the primitive data types we have. So this is the overall view. So data types, two categories, primitive and non-primitive. Then again we have primitive two types, non-numeric, numeric. Non-numeric means so character and boolean we have. Character will support a single character like A, B, C, like that we can add. And boolean is the special data type. It will support only true or false values. Next, numeric. So numeric will support all the numbers. So numeric also we have two categories, integer, then floating. So integer means it will support only the numbers. For example, 100, 200, 1, 2, 3, like that only. But floating means it will support this decimal values also. After number we have decimals, right? Those things also it will support. So integer we have four, right? Byte, short, long, int. So byte will support up to some 127 minus 127 to plus 127 only. Short also have some range, long also have some range. So in olden days, it is we should use whatever the data type we required, because if you are using some byte means you have up to 127, right? So if you are using this data type means it will consume very less memory. If you are using long or int means it will consume more memory, because in olden days memory is also cost wise very high. Nowadays it become very cheap. So and also another point, if you are using exact data type means that will give your application performance also very speed. So here floating we have, right, two types. One is float, one is double. So this float will support decimal points up to 7 decimal points, but this double will support up to 15 to 16. So you can see here this table, primitive data types with size and range. Boolean size is 1 bit, and it will store the value true or false only. So the default value is a false, and also byte. It will support minus 128 to 127 default value. For all integers, default value is 0. Then short, this range, character. So this is the default value of character. Then int, this is the range, long, float, double. Next we have operators. So this operators, what is operators means? Operators are the symbols which is used to perform the operations on variables. So here operations means we are performing some specific task on variables. So for example, we saw, right. For example, I want to add two numbers. So data types, we can see here data type examples. So this is the Boolean data type, then byte, short, character, int, long, float, double. For float, we have to define like this f, because this one Java compiler need to identify, right, which is float, which is double. So data types clear, right, everyone? And we are discussing about operators, right? You can see here. So these are the operators. So we are performing some logic, right? These are the operators. Here, this is the logical operator. These are the assignment operators. So we'll see the types. So mainly why we are using operators to perform the operations on the variables. So these two are the variables. And by using this operators, we are performing some task here. So types of operators we have: arithmetic operation, relational or comparison operators, logical operators, assignment operators, increment and decrement operators. So this increment decrement operators comes under urinary operators. So these are the arithmetic operators we have: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and remainder. So this is the modulus operator. So this already you guys have read in mathematics. Then relational operators. So we are comparing one variable with another variable. This is equal or not equal or not, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. These things are comparison operators. So logical operators, logical and logical or, logical not, short circuit and short circuit or. Here we have the difference between this and this. So here single and, this is the double and, right, double or. So single and means if we have the two conditions to check, it will check that both condition, even the first condition is false, then it will check the second condition also. For example, here we have the two conditions, right? Marks is greater than or equal to 25. If I use here single and means it will check these both conditions. And if you are using this double and means if first condition is false, then it will make it as a overall this variable is false only. It won't check the second condition. If it is true only, it will check the second condition. That is the difference between this single and double and. So we have this truth table for and. If first condition is true and second condition is false means finally result will come false only. So similarly, for first condition is false, second condition is true, result will be false only. Both are true only true. Both are false also false. For or, this is a different. This is for and. For or, so this is for or. If any condition, one condition is true means it will become true. So this is also true. Both are true also true. Both are false means false. That is the difference between and or. These are the truth tables. So you are comparing two conditions means. So likewise, if you think 3 or 4 also. In and any one condition false means remaining conditions will be final output will be the false only. But in or one condition is true means final output is the true only. So this not operator to check that value is not equal or not like that. And the next, so assignment operators. Assignment already we assigned one value to variable, right? Similarly, we can increment also. This plus equal to minus equal to. We saw the examples also, I think. Types, operators, examples, we have anything? So relational operators equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to. This is the increment, decrement example. So logical operators. Somewhere we have that one. This is the arithmetic operators example. So we taken two numbers and we are performing all operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. These are the if conditions. Somewhere we saw. Yeah, this one, assignment operators, first class only. So you can see here, salary equal to 10,000. Later I am incrementing again another 10,000. So with this is similarly like this increment salary plus 10,000. So already salary is 10,000. Next month some increment you got, again 10,000 you are going to increment. So this one and this one are same. So this is the shortcut. Actually we have to do like this. This is the shortcut. So already this salary plus we are incrementing 1,000. So salary plus 10,000. This is that operate. Similarly for minus also, if you want to decrement, we can decrement. And then next topic, and also those who are new joiners, I will show you this one, how to create a project. After opening your Eclipse, you just open this file, new, just click new here, then Java project. For example, I am giving here test, then finish. So you can see here Java project got created. So I mentioned right that JDK contains JRE. So this JRE contains libraries. These are the libraries already Java team was developed. So whatever the required libraries while executing this program, automatically compiler will use these libraries. And some of the predefined codes also there. We can reuse those codes as well. That is we already saw in the oops concepts of those things, how we are using those libraries. For example, object class. I mentioned object is the parent class. So that object methods we are reusing, right? Those all are already predefined things. And how to create a project, file, new, Java project. If you are unable to find here this Java project under the new, then you can search from other. So Java project, you can type here, you will get, then you can select, you can click next, then finally finish. Next, how to create a package. Right click on the src folder, new package. So package name should be reverse of your company domain. For example, google.com means com.google. Then your project name or your class name, something. But you should start with the reverse of your company domain. Then how to create a class means right click on this package, new class. For example, just I am giving animal is a class name, then finish. So class got created. Then main method, public static void main, then string array of arcs. This is the parameter. So this is the curly brace. Inside the method body, we are going to write our logic. Just we did write that print hello world. So run as a Java application. How to execute this one? Just you can keep this mouse over anywhere on the class, right click, run as a Java application. So we'll start next topic here. So next one is the increment and decrement. So this increment and decrement means we have other two types here. Post increment, pre increment. Post increment means first it will print that actual value. Later it will increment by 1. Pre-increment means first it will increment the value, later it will assign the value. So for example, already we have, I think, here increment and decrement operator. You can see here pre-increment and post-increment example, this one. So first I defined one variable here, int a equal to 10. Here what I am doing, int b equal to plus a. So incrementing, this is the pre-increment, plus a is the pre-increment. Now if you execute this class means, so initial value what, a is the 10, 10 it is printed. So pre-increment plus a. So first it is incremented 1 and then it is adding with the a. So already a is 10, 1 plus 10, 11. Similarly for a post increment, so int c equal to 10, initial value is this one, right? C 10 value, so 10 got printed. Then for I defined new variable, now I am incrementing with the this c with the plus 1, then we got 11. So after that also I am printing c. You can see still c value is 10 only. Here you can see the difference, now you can understand it. So d plus plus, initially d value is the 10 only, that 10 got printed. Later it is incremented, post increment. Now if you print d means, then it became 11. But when compared to pre increment, first it will increment, later it will assign the value. But for d, first it will assign the value, later it will increment. That is the difference here. So similarly, decrement operators also will work same way. And next we have, this is the next topic. So up to here we covered variables, data types, and then operators. So variables are used to store the values. Variables are the container to store the value. Data types are the which type of data we are going to store in the variable and how much memory we are utilizing. Next, operators. Operators are used to perform the operations on variables. So control flow statements. Control flow statements are nothing but it will control our program. So it will control our logic, how we are going to execute our program step by step. So here what it is going to control. So it will have the decision making and loop executions. So decision making means a conditional check. For example, you are eligible for vote or not. What is the condition here? Your age should be greater than 18. Then only you are eligible for vote. Otherwise, you are not eligible for vote. So here we will create one condition. Inside the condition, we can print that message. So he is eligible for vote. In the else block, we will add that he is not eligible for vote. So here we are controlling our program step by step. Then loop execution. Loop execution means if you want to repeat the same task number of times until that condition become true, that is the loop execution. Then entire flow. So what is the main purpose of this control flow statements? It will control our program step by step. We'll see the what are the control flow statements we have. So types of control flow statements, we have decision making statements, looping statements, jump statements. Decision making statements are for conditional checks. Looping statement for repeating the same task multiple times. So what are the jump statements? So jump statements are nothing but we have some special keywords called continue, break, switch, those things, return, those keywords, those you will see in the program. You can understand those things. So decision making statements, we have different types. If statement, if else statement, else if ladder, switch statement. So another one more thing we have nested if if else, nested if, else if. I will back in 1 minute. Yeah, I am back. So today only I am repeating. Tomorrow onwards, we will start our that remaining topics, because of some guys are joined newly. Then if statement, if else statement, nested if, else if ladder, switch statements. So we can see the examples here. Decision making statements. So for if example, so you can take one real time example here. So the for 100, what is the pass marks here? 35. If the marks greater than or equal to 35, student is a pass, otherwise he is fail. So here you can see here, this is the syntax of if keyword, then parentheses, inside the parentheses you have to provide your condition. Then we have the body. So inside the if block, we are writing our logic here. So the here inside the body we are writing like this we can call it as a statements. So you can see here, for example, this is, you can consider as a one program, even or odd, right? You can consider one program. Here it is controlling our execution of our class flow. If this condition is true, it will execute this block. Otherwise, it will execute this block. So it is controlling with the help of this condition. This is the control flow statement. So for if, this is the syntax and this is the example. And then next, if else. I mentioned right already, if age is greater than 18, eligible for vote, otherwise not eligible for vote. So this is the if example, this is the if else example. Next, nested if. Nested if means inside the if we have another if. You can see this is the top level if. This is the nested if. So if inside a if, we can call it as a nested if. Here we are checking first, this belongs to Indian or not country. Then age is greater than or 18 or not. Else not eligible for vote, we mentioned. And then another one. What is another one? Else if ladder. So else if ladder means if else, then again here will come one more condition in the else block. So that is which program we explained. I think student grade system. So you can see here if else if. So it look like one ladder. if, else if, else if, else if, finally else. This is the else if program. So here we did the conditions. If marks is greater than 90, print grade A. If marks is greater than 75, print grade B. If marks is greater than 60, grade C. If marks is greater than 35, D. So below 35, fail. So in the else, we mentioned that one. So this is an example for else if ladder. Next one, switch. I think for switch program, yeah, select a department. So you can see here, switch is the keyword. Here we have the variable. By using this variable, this case will work. So int department equal to 7 means here there is no 7, case 7 is not there. Then it will print this default case. So just you can execute this one, run as a. So this is it is printing. So here I have another thing. So that is this is got printed. But you can see this one switch. So based on this variable, so it is like a multiple choice. So we have different cases here. We have to select one case. Whatever the variable we are passing here, that case it will select. Here I don't have like this 7. By defaultly, it will execute this one. So you can see here this break and continue return statements belongs to that jumping statements. So break means once this case got, for example, here 1. If I execute this means run as once it is found this case, it will break here. Then it won't execute these remaining cases. So this is the purpose of this control flow statements. It will control our program wherever if you want to execute it will execute. Otherwise it will skip that executions. So similarly continue. If you want to continue after this also means we can use this continue keyword. Return keyword means already in the methods we are going to discuss those things. So it will return the value whatever we are expecting that response. It will return that response. So next, so looping statements. So looping statements mainly we have 3 types: for loop, while loop, do while loop. So for loop, when we are going to use means if we know the particular iteration, how many times I am going to iterate my program. That time I can choose a for loop. While loop, I don't know how many times to iterate the program. That particular condition becomes true until I need to execute, right? That statements. That time I can choose a while loop, do while loop. So this while loop and do while loop, one difference is there. So while you don't know how many times you need to iterate, but do while you should execute that block at least one time until that condition. If it is false also, if first what if will do if the condition is false means it won't execute that block. But in the do while it will execute the do block one time if this while condition is fail or pass or fail. We'll see the for loop example first. So syntax for loop, this is the syntax: initialization, condition, increment and decrement. So initialization. So initializing means we defined one variable and we assigned one value here. So here we are printing. This is the even numbers only we are printing. I think one small example I given, right? Initially. Okay, no problem. So for example, you can see here, I want to print 1 to 10 numbers. Then I cannot write sys out 10 times. So system out dot println. Like that, I have to provide 10 statements. So instead of 10 statements, what I will do, just I will repeat that printing 10 statements by using this for loop. So here you can see for int I equal to 0 for, so syntax for this first initialization. Int I want to print 1 to 10 members. So first initialization, then condition up to I less than or equal to 10. So this condition will, until this condition will become true, this loop will execute. So here I am using increment operator. So one by one I need to increment, right? I need to print 1, 2, 3, right? So first I am incrementing this value. First I am printing 1. So initially I value 1, it will print. So in the second iteration, this 1 will add with the plus 1, then it will become 2. Then that value will print. Then it will check the condition. So I less than, so I become 2, right? That time. So print I here. So now you can see here how this for loop is working. Very important one. So this conditions for loops. So mostly we are using if condition, if else conditions in the real time, and mostly for loop also very important. Most of the times we are using for loop only instead of do while loop. So then only I am explaining again. I think already whoever aware on this one, they have the confusion also how this for loop will work. I am explaining again, can get clarified. So first we initialized. So my requirement is what I want to print 1 to 10 numbers instead of printing 10 statements here. So with the help of one statement only, I am printing this 1 to 10. Correct, right? Output I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how this loop will work? You can see here. First we initialized int I equal to 1. Then we given the condition I less than or equal to 10. Then I plus plus. What is the post increment operator? First, it will print this I value, then it will incremental. So initially, starting I is 1. Then it will check I less than or equal to 10. So condition is true. Then it will go inside this block and it will print this I equal to 1. Then what we are doing? Then we are incrementing here. So now second time I equal to 2. Then it will check this condition. So 2 is less than or equal to 10. 2 is less than only, right? With the, when compared to 10, then condition becomes true. Then increment. Then it will, so post increment, what it will do? First it will print that value, later it will increment in the next time. So now I become 2, that is printed. Then next time it is going to iterate, right? That time I equal to 3. Then 3 less than or equal to 10. Then 3 printed. Similarly I equal to 4. 4 less than or equal to 10. So likewise up to 10. So I become finally 10, then 10 less than or equal to 10. So 10 is equal here. Then condition true. Then again it will increment. Now what happened? I will become 11. Then 11 is less than or equal to 10. Condition will become false. Then it will stop this loop. Clear, right? Until this condition is true, it will execute. And next we have the while loop. So while loop, what is the syntax for while loop? I think I don't have programs also. So while, I think while was explained by Nadim, right? Here we will provide our condition. For example, int I less than or equal to 0. So I will define here int. So similar to for loop only, this is a sysout. So in for loop, we will do everything in this parenthesis. For while, we have to do like this. I. So here I will print I. So you can see here, this is the initialization, right? So here the initialization. Next condition. So condition we provided inside the while. Finally, increment and decrement. Using while. Run as a Java application. So you can see here, it is executing infinite. So we provided, I think, this one wrongly. Now we will check. Run as a. Now you can see. So similar only. But in while loop, when we are going to use means, we don't know the number of iteration. Here I know 10 times 10 values I have to print. That time I used this 10. So similarly, do. So do will be the block. Then while we have. So like this, we have this. So this block will execute one time if this condition true or false. If it is true means until this while is true, it will execute this block. This is the difference between while and do while. So I hope already we given those examples. Later you can practice. But mostly the for loop we are utilizing in real time. Next. So this is so you can see here for loop is to iterate a program several times if you know the particular fixed iterations. While loop is used to iterate a part of program several times if the number of iterations is not fixed. So we don't know how many times need to iterate. So do while loop is used to iterate several times if the number of iteration is not fixed and must have to execute this do block one time, at least one time. So next we have the oops concepts. So what is OOP here? OOP is a methodology or a programming paradigm. So paradigm means a specific task to perform. So some program or task going to perform. So that is the methodology. Then programming paradigm means so we are using some programming language to solve that specific task. That is the programming paradigm. We have here OOPS means object oriented programming system or structure. So in OOPS we have six main concepts. First one is the class, second one is the object and methods, third one is inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So class is nothing but it's a blueprint. It is a instance of a objects, and then it will not consume the memory. We discussed right everything. So class is a collection of objects. It is not a real world entity. It's just a template or blueprint. It doesn't occupy the memory. So I given examples here. For example, vehicle. Vehicle is the category. So inside the vehicle we have different types: bus, car, bike, cycle, those things, different vehicles. So here vehicle is not a really exist. It is the category. So really what are the exist really here? So car, bus, those things are really exist. Those are the objects. Whatever the really exist, those things are the objects. So methods why we are using to perform the specific task. Methods are nothing but the behavior of our object. So object is a real-time entity. It is really exist. Object contains properties, behaviors. I think next slide we'll see that object. But method is used to perform the specific task. For example, if you take dog is a one class, dog will eat, will bark, will move is one method. So all the behaviors we can call it as a methods. So what is the advantages of methods? We can reuse the code and then optimization. So readability also good. If you are defining all your code inside the methods, readability also good. And then syntax, this is very important because now we are working with the methods. You should aware on the methods. Syntax for the methods, access modifier. So access modifiers we have four types, right? Public, private, protected, default. So the scope of the public, it will applicable overall the project. We have the scope. Private means within a class only. And then default. Default scope is within a package only. Whatever the inside the package we have the classes, right? We can use. And protected means this is also similar to default within a package. And that parent class we are extending in any subclasses which is available in different package also, we can access that method or variables, those things. Don't worry, those things already we saw the examples also. In upcoming classes also, I will show you again the scope of this access modifiers. So here the main syntax, you remember this one. Access modifier, return type, method name, then parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we have the parameters. Then the method body. Inside the curly braces, we have the method body. You can see here. So this is the method. Here, access modifier, void means no return. Eat is the method name. Here I don't have any parameters. So method body. So main method. This is the main method. You can see here access modifier. This is the static method. So no return type. Return type here. Void is no return type. Method name main. Then parameter. So inside the method, I have some logic here. These are the class level variables. If I use here static keyword means this is the static variable. For static variable, so this is the object, right? So okay, object I not shown you, right? What is object? We'll show the object, then we can see the examples. So object is a instance of the class. It is a real world entity, so it is really exist, and every time if you are creating one new object, it will occupy the memory. So I give an example. For example, you are feeding any dog or anything, so in your home, if you are feeding means, then it will consume some space from your home. So similarly here also, if you are creating one new object, it will consume the memory in the JVM. So object mainly consists of a identity, the name should be unique, and state and behavior, so its properties. So for example, dog, dog is the, so it is have the unique name. So in dog we have different types of dogs, right? German shepherd, doberman, like that, we have some unique names, right? And also you will keep some names also, so your pet names, so unique name, it should have unique name. So state and behavior, it properties like color, height, weight, those things, properties. And behavior, behavior means what dog will do, it will bark, it will run, it will eat. Those are the dog behaviors. So this is the object consisting identity, state, behavior, and methods. Now we can see the example. So how to create a object means very important, because by using this object creation only, we can able to call this variable or methods, right? So this is the class. Inside the class, what we have? Variables, methods, and we will have some nested classes also. We can provide some blocks also. We can provide those things. So you remember this one very important. How to create a object means, so the name should be, class name should be the same. So animal is the class name. Then this is the reference name. So this name you can provide your wish, whatever you can provide. But as per the standards, we have to use some meaningful name. So in Java, if you are using meaningful name means, whoever the new programmer will come, he can able to easily understand what this is doing by reading the variable name itself. So here the reference name, animal. So this is the object creation. So when we are creating new object, constructor will invoke. This concept is called a constructor, right? Initialization. Constructor is to initialize the object. That is, I think, upcoming slides we have will I will explain that one. So how to create an object means, the class name should be the same here. So same name I am using, then reference name, then equal to operator, then new keyword. So this new keyword will create the object. This is the to initialize the values. So this is the constructor. So once we created object, with the help of this, so these are the animal properties, right? Name, age, and behaviors. So animal dot name. So we are assigning the value here, and animal dot. So finally we are calling this method also, eat. So don't worry, this method calling object creations. So in the upcoming sessions also, I am going to explain practically. Those who are new to this Java classes, already people are aware. Are you there, right? Then our next topic is how to create an object. This is the important interview question. We can create 5 ways in Java by using new keyword, by using instance method, new instance method, by clone method, by deserialization. But mostly we will use this new keyword only. So in interview point of view, it is important. Can explain these 5 ways we can create the Java object. Then the constructor. So constructors, it is also similar to method. So how we can define constructor? It should be same name as a class name. So we will have 4 types of constructors applicable: public constructor, private constructor, protected default constructor, static and final constructors we cannot use. Then it doesn't have any return type. So method have return type, constructor will not have the return type. Constructor will execute automatically when we create an object. So we seen right, animal equal to new animal. The time constructor will invoke. So purpose of the constructor, the main purpose of the constructor is to initialize the object. Initialization means we are assigning the value. Correct, right? Already we saw the example. So constructor examples where we saw. Oh, this one for a student example we taken, I think. So vehicle also we saw. So this is the, we have different types of constructors. Default constructor, no argument constructor, parametric constructor. Default constructor is by defaultly JVM will provide. If you are not defining any constructor inside the class, JVM will provide. No argument constructor means this is the user defined constructor. So no argument constructors means no parameters inside the constructor, no parameters. That parenthesis we have, right? There we are not providing any parameters. Parametric constructors means we are providing. You can see this is the no argument constructor. This is we are defining. If I am not defining this constructor means by defaultly, if this class have, if this class not having any constructor, then JVM will provide by defaultly this default constructor. This is the default constructor. If we are defining this constructor, this will become user defined constructor. So this is the argument constructor. This is no arg constructor. This is the argument constructor. So we are passing parameters here. So the rule for creating constructor, this should be same as class name. So you can see here, this is also look like similar to the method only. So this is one method. ToString is one method. You can see here, access modifier, return type is string. So it will return that string value. ToString is the method name. So here I don't have any parameters. So return keyword, you can see it will finally, it will return this string value. So this is the constructor. So this is reusing of the constructor. So we are reusing this same constructor again here. And this keyword, super keyword also we have, right? This keyword is, it refers the current class variables or current class objects, whatever the objects or variables we have. By using this, we can define. So you can see here, this name also same, this name also same. Then with the help of this keyword, we are assigning this value to this class level variable. So these values are coming from, I think, student test. You can see here, student test. So here that object creation, student, we created new student object created. This will invoke that default constructor. Then we have argument constructor, right? So this argument constructor will invoke new. You can see, just you can click control, you can navigate here. So this is we got. So 3 parameters we have, right? ID, name, marks. So once you call this constructor, so this will reuse here. So like this, I not defined, right? This dot ID equal to this dot ID. So it will invoke this one. So this will set the values here by using this keyword. So here we are differentiating local variables, class level variables with the help of this keyword. If you are not using this keyword, then it won't initialize this value into these variables. I think next we have This keyword already we discussed. So this refers to the current object. Use cases differentiate between class attribute and method parameters with the same names. Can call other constructor from the same class using this. Then we have super keyword. So super keyword we are going to use for to call the parent class methods or parent class constructors. Already we saw this example as well. Parent class, child class example. So you can see here we have this constructor. So constructor name is same, right? Class name should be the same name. We have to create a constructor. That is the rule. We have to follow that rule. Otherwise, it is not a constructor. It will become method if you are changing the name means. Then we have child class. This is the child class. So you can see here we called this is the child class constructor. Just we extend this is the inheritance concept. We extend parent class and we are calling. We created object for this child class. Then we are calling class dot. So this is the method. If you execute this means it will call both parent class and child class method also. So this is the super dot show is the parent class method, right? So I am from parent method. So this is this constructor. I am from parent. I am from child class. So as well as a child also. So super keyword the main purpose is it will call the parent class methods and parent class constructors, those things. And toString method. We discussed why we are using toString methods. Instead of if you are not using toString method means what will happen? It will print that object reference key. So that hash code it will print. If you are defining this toString method, what is the exact value this object have? So it will print that exact value. That is only this slide defines here. ToString method is used in Java to return a string representation of an object. It is defined in an object class, which means every Java class inherits it. So I mentioned, right? Parent class is the object class. In Java, what is the parent class means object class. By defaultly, JVM will extend object class. So you can see here override inheritance concept. Use of toString instead of printing memory reference like that class name at some hash code it will print, right? To print the meaningful information. What is the exact value inside that object have? It will print that one if you override that toString method means. Next concept, I think time also going to. I think inheritance, right? So I will tell you that diagram I need. Already I shared the document, right? So we'll open the document. Okay, I can download that. So what is inheritance here is, I think Nadeem explained you, right? Inheritance means acquiring the properties and behavior from the parent object. So for example, a real time example you can take, from father, son will get his properties, right? Whatever. But few properties we cannot acquire, private properties. So for example, if your father using a brush, you cannot use, right? So whatever the properties we can use, those things only we can able to use. Otherwise, we cannot. So in inheritance, we have some private, right? Private members. Those we cannot extend. Those we cannot reuse in the child class. So here the main definition is acquiring the properties and behavior of a parent object. So inheritance in Java, it's a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties and behavior of a parent object. So it is, we can call it as a easy relationship, which is also known as a parent-child relationship. You can see here examples. Dog is a animal. Car is a vehicle. Programmer is a employee. Those things. Why we are going to use this inheritance? Reusability. So in the parent class, whatever the methods we have, we can reuse those methods in the child class, except private methods. We cannot reuse, because if you extend also, the scope of the private method is within a class only, right? So if you use this extends keywords also, the scope will not be there. For public and default protected, you have the scope. And also code reusability, we can achieve this polymorphism. So polymorphism I will explain you tomorrow class. Tomorrow, I think holiday, day after tomorrow I will explain it. So disadvantages is, the disadvantages of inheritance, it is tightly coupled. For example, in parent class, you have one method you define. If you change that method logic or anything means, it will get effect in child class also. So if for example, if you are removing that method, then you also need to remove in child class as well. Otherwise, it will throw, compiler will throw compilation error. So that is the tightly coupled here. It is tightly coupled. And we have different types of inheritance: single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance. Single level means just one class is extending another class. This is the single inheritance. Next, multi-level inheritance. So you can see here, class A is extending, class B is extending class A. Similarly, class C is extending class B. Multi-level. Now, whatever the class A methods have, we can access in class B. Similarly, class C is there, right? We can access class B methods as well, class A methods as well, class C. So multi-level. But I will extend class C only the class B. Already class B extend class A. So next, hierarchical. You can see here, hierarchical means class B extending class A, class C extending class A, class D extending class A. So how we are achieving this inheritance means by using this extends keyword. So in interview they will ask, what is inheritance? Inheritance means is a mechanism in which it will acquire the properties and behavior of the parent. So how we are going to achieve the inheritance means by using extends keyword. So these 2 points you have to explain in interview. So here hierarchical inheritance means same one class we are extending so many classes. So you can see the difference here. Multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. Multi-level means class A is extended by class B and class B is extended by class C. So class C indirectly have the access with the class A. But here you don't have access with the class C, and class C not have access with class B. Only it have the access for the class A methods only. So this is the hierarchical one. And multiple inheritance. This is multiple inheritance. It won't support. It will support with the help of interface only. So I will discuss while discussing interface topic. That time I will explain this concept multiple inheritance. So why the problem is here means, for example, class A have the same method, class B also have the same method. That time what happen? That compiler will get confusion. Which method I have to invoke? So class C extending both classes here. Class A also extending, class B also extending. That time this JVM will confuse if that both classes have same method means, then only it won't support here. But it will achieve by using interface that we will see in the upcoming classes. So here it will create the ambiguity problem. So this is the very important question in interview. Why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java? They will ask. Because of it will create that ambiguity. This is called a diamond problem. We can call it as a diamond problem. So you can explain that one. So if the class is extending, one class is extending two classes, that class contains same method, that time it will JVM will confuse that one which method need to call. So this is the ambiguity problem. Because of that only multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. You explain like this. Next, hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance we have here. You can see here we have class A. Class A is extending by class B and class C. Then class D is extending class B and class C as well. So like you can see here, this is like a diamond shape, hybrid inheritance. Why we are using inheritance means to reuse the code. In one class already I am defining one method means that same method if I need means I can reuse in other class as well. This is the inheritance, and also to achieve that method overriding. That is next class I will discuss that one. So inheritance is not a part of the private members. Whatever private variable you have means, private method you have, private constructor you have means, it will not applicable inheritance. Clear, right? So that's all today class. Tomorrow is the holiday for Bakrid.